Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about one concept that Minnesota employed against Dallas that I absolutely hate. We're going to discuss why I think this was a terrible idea and maybe single-handedly cost them Game 3 in particular. We're going to discuss how they changed it for Game 4 and why that allowed to much better results. Let's go. So the first thing is we saw this strategy several times throughout games 1 and 2 as well, but game 3 they really doubled down and went to it aggressively. Okay, so we can see the first thing is on every essentially ball screen that involved Luka at all, if Gobert or Cat were in the game, they were going to aggressively trap. Okay, so they sent two to the ball. Essentially their goal is like, oh, we got to get the ball out of Luka's hands and force somebody else to make a play. Okay, so there are several real big issues with this. The first one is demonstrated simply by the fact that we can see that Rudy Gobert is the one closing out the Kyrie right here. As we learned from game 2, if Rudy Gobert is on a guard, that's not an ideal situation for Minnesota on defense. Okay, Kyrie's going to get good looks consistently by doing this, drives by and gets an easy layup at the rim. Even if he stepped out of bounds, it still shows the concept that people are able to go by Rudy Gobert pretty easily. So again, 2 possessions later, we see Luka coming up the ball, and the ball screen comes up. What's Gobert going to do? He could have stayed with this player fairly easily right there, instead chose to double or essentially trap Luka. And so the big issue I have with this is like, this kind of thing works pretty well when you essentially don't have other good players surrounding. However, this is like the freaking NBA, man. Like, this is like the elite of the elite. They're going to be able to make reads and make passes and make shots. And if you have two players that are back here and your rim protector being one of them, you're going to give an open look to somebody. In this case, the open corner 3 to a wide open PJ Washington. And so you know me, I talk a lot about the idea of the 3 is what creates open looks like dunks at the rim. So the idea of the 3 is a bigger threat than the actual of the 3. And so this is very similar in like the idea of Kyrie, the idea of Luka is a bigger threat than what they actually possess. So you sending two to the ball in these situations is definitely not justified. Like, they do not need that much attention. So as Luka comes off this ball screen or this dribble handoff, what's going to happen with Rudy Gobert? Boom, two players on the ball. Okay, we saw this. Houston does this a lot on defense. And the thing is, Houston is playing against nowhere near as good athletes as NBA players. And they are possibly 4 of the 5 most athletic players on the court at all times. Okay, so again, we see as soon as Gafford essentially rolls, they have to rotate over. You have one defender, you have Cat right here, for 2 Dallas players. Okay, so the ball gets swung once, Cat has to recover, and wide open shot. Again, a wide open corner shot, which is the single highest percentage 3 you can shoot. And then did we see this at the end of the game as well? With the game online, Minnesota's ahead right now. Plenty of opportunities to win this game. Okay? Again, ball screen occurs and trap. Okay, I get it. This is pretty close to a steal. Like, it's not far from it. That being said, like, Luka's 50-50, that's going to be bailed out with a foul if push comes to shove. 50-50 that this is going to be a foul in the first place. But even if he does get rid of it, like, Luka's just so aware in that situation. Like, he's going to know what to do. And then again, we got 3-on-4. And while Minnesota actually recovers pretty well, it just puts the defense slightly in rotation and gives the advantage to the Dallas on offense. And this is not an advantage that you need to give them in the first place at all. Especially with a game on the line like this. Why not play more passive? You have a 2-point lead. I don't get it. And then not only that, the reason why Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, isn't in right now is because Minnesota is playing this style of defense, because they know they're going to have to rotate quickly. And so if your defensive philosophy requires that one of your best players isn't in the game, that seems kind of stupid in my opinion. Okay, so Minnesota is getting ready to rotate right here. Okay, and what do we have? We have 2 and 1. The exact same thing we saw moments ago. Anthony Edwards is slow on the reaction, and you get a wide open corner 3. And then so we can see with 2 minutes to go is Rudy Gobert is back in the game because they changed their approach, because they were just getting smoked with it. And so the issue is that this is like almost too late. Like, you gave Dallas a 6-point swing because of that. And so we can see they didn't trap right there. Rudy went back to his man pretty quickly. And I mean, the issue is, like, if you give them a little bit of an edge, they're still good players. They're going to be able to get good looks, or decent looks at least. However, you can't give them the free ones early. Okay, so Luka hits a very tough shot, but we're comparing this to the traps that we saw earlier. We're getting wide open looks easily, and so that is a much better defensive possession than the other way around. And so then we move to game 4 and we see a very similar situation. Minnesota ahead with the game coming down to the wire. Hey, how are they going to guard Dallas? How did they guard Dallas essentially all game 4? Hey, Rudy did not come up. He's playing down. Hey, he's one of the best rim protectors, if not the best rim protector. Let him be a rim protector. I get it. You're going to give up some open shots when people get caught on the screen. You're going to. Hey, but the reality is, Luka isn't just unbeatable. Hey, he misses shots. He is human. Hey, force him to take difficult shots and live with the results knowing that you force difficult shots. And so this allows when Cat goes on big runs like he did in game 4, it gives you versatility because now on defense you're not just leaking points. You can see how they held Dallas to much lower. It's only 92 with 4 minutes to go in the fourth. Much better defensive performance in general from Minnesota. Okay, so we can see Rudy is up, but he's drifting back. They're not trapping aggressively out here. Okay, force them into congested places where you have long help. Allow your athletes to recover. Force, if he's going to shoot this three, it's not open, it's going to be contested. And force him to put the ball on the ground. And this leads to good things on defense. Okay, trust your defenders. Play off. Protect the rim. Don't think that Luka is just some god who's going to score every single time. Trust your defenders on defense. Trust them. That is what Minnesota, I believe, has to do in order to be successful for the rest of the series. They put themselves in a hole going down 3-0. However, they definitely have the offense and the defense to be able to come back from this. I'm curious how they react in Game 5. Excited to see it. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. Bless.